So I will send the recording after this presentation is over, along with all of the slides. We are going to go ahead and get started, but feel free to continue introducing yourself in the chat and continue to give us all of your great drink ideas. Love hearing all of them. I said this earlier, but I'll repeat it again just because I want to, reiterate. Please, no questions too small. Please don't hesitate to ask them. You can use the chat. You can ask them out loud. You can raise your hand. Again, we really want this to be a learning experience for everyone. So don't be shy about asking your questions. If you're not familiar with the Hunger Coalition, our team works to build a more effective system of hunger relief programs. We really want to make sure that everyone in San Diego County has immediate, dignified, and equitable access to food assistance here in the city. We do so by supporting our research, education, and advocacy efforts. We don't actually provide direct service here in San Diego, but we do work collaboratively with different partners all throughout the county and try to connect, make sure our families are connected to the resources that they need. This training today is meant to provide you with a general overview of food assistance. These programs are not easy to explain to folks, and we recognize that. And it can be a little confusing when it comes to trying to find out how to connect to them. So we really want to make sure that you leave this training with a greater understanding of the food assistance resources such as Sunbucks, or Summer EBT, and CalFresh. We will provide a lot of general information on eligibility criteria, initial steps for connecting to these resources, and of course, how to best connect communities that you work with. So overall, we do hope that you leave this training feeling confident about connecting people to these food resources. This is a quick little outline of our agenda for today. I am going to start by going over some context behind nutrition insecurity here in San Diego. Then we are going to take a look into all of the food resources that can be useful for families, specifically Sunbucks, school meals, CalFresh, WIC, and food distributions. And we will summarize with some key takeaways for all of you, offer some additional opportunities for those who are interested in learning more, and of course, resources that you can all make use of and share. And again, these slides will be shared with you after this presentation is over. All right. So before I jump into the Sunbucks program, which I'm sure all of us are eager to hear more about, I do want to cover some important data and facts behind why programs like Sunbucks are so important for our community and for our families. So according to data from December of 2024, nearly 1 in 4 San Diegans are experiencing nutrition insecurity, almost 25%. Of these San Diegans, nearly 1 in 4 older adults are currently experiencing nutrition insecurity. And I'm sure this might be a surprise to some of you, but nutrition insecurity actually affects children at a higher rate, nearly 1 in 3, or around 31%. And when someone is considered nutrition insecure, this means that they cannot access 3 nutritious, filling meals a day for themselves and for their family. These are the San Diego specific numbers when it comes to those facing nutrition insecurity. So in San Diego, there are over 800,000 people who are currently facing nutrition insecurity. Of those 800,000, 212,000 of them are children. So again, I'm sure this number is a lot higher than a lot of us want it to be. Issues of nutrition insecurity are actually get worse during the summer. When children go on break from school, they lose access to their daily school breakfast and school lunch meals. This is up to 30 million children across the US. So summer is the hungriest time of the year for children. When schools are closed and they lose access to these free meals, they are at higher risk of food and nutrition insecurity and are more likely to experience obesity, poor grades, and other negative health outcomes. There are currently some food programs in place that are meant to combat the hunger gap during the summer, such as summer meal sites. However, historically, despite best efforts, group summer meal sites have only been able to reach about 1 in 6 children who are eligible. And this can be due to, a wide variety of barriers, lack of transportation. Families aren't always able to find time to visit meal sites. These meal sites are often only on specific times, specific days. Sometimes families have to be working or they aren't able to find someone who can take their child to the meal site. And this overall leads to a meal gap during these summer months. So this is where Sunbucks is meant to come into play, or summer EBT, as some of you may hear it referred to as. So what is Sunbucks? Sunbucks is a newer permanent program. It only began last year, back in 2024. Eligible children are going to be receiving $120 that their families can use to purchase food and groceries from eligible grocery stores and farmers markets. This is really meant to help bridge that hunger gap for children who are on break from school during summer, and make it a lot easier for families to keep their children, fed. Sunbucks began really building off the work of a similar program during the pandemic. It was called PEBT, or Pandemic EBT, as I'm sure some of you are familiar with. PEBT was found to have reduced hardship amongst the lowest income children by about 30%. And it was estimated to have protected about 2.7 to 3.9 million children from hunger. Sunbucks, this is the second year that the program is being administered. It is expected to positively impact more than 29 million children across the nation. Here in California, there are an expected 5.6 million children who are eligible. So these are a lot of children who can get $120 worth of summer benefits for food. Sunbucks benefits are going to work very, very similarly to CalFresh. They are going to be accepted wherever CalFresh is accepted. This includes most local grocery stores, delivery via Instacart, and participating farmers markets. You can use Sunbucks benefits to purchase any SNAP EBT eligible item. So anything that has a nutrition label on it. So this can include things like fruits, veggies, meat and seafood, and so on. So again, makes it really easy for families to pick and choose, the items that are best for them and for their children. And one really major point that I want to emphasize is the fact that Sunbucks does not take immigration status into consideration for eligibility. So your immigration status does not matter. It doesn't matter, if you're a citizen or if you're not. It will not affect your eligibility for the program. And in addition, using Sunbucks benefits is safe. It will not affect your immigration status or your family's or your future immigration status. And I do see a hand raised. Maria, would you like to unmute?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Ahora sí, me lo puedes mover. Okay. Anna, can you hear me now? Oh,
yes,
okay.
I can hear you.
No. So my question for you, I noticed that they can do it via Instacart. Are they going to be able to register the car because the new EBT has expiration date as 12/49, I believe, like 2049, and it's not allowing people to enter that card.
Oh, it's not allowing people to enter their Sunbucks card.
Not the Sunbucks, but the regular one.
Oh.
And I'm just not sure if it's gonna happen the same with the Sunbucks.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. It should allow people to put in their EBT card. I know there are new EBT cards being sent out that are chip tap cards, that have that expiration date. If there's errors with putting in the EBT card, that should not be happening. Please send me the details and we can escalate it over to CDSS and find out what's going on there. Because they should be able to use it for delivery via Instacart. And delivery via other programs as well, such as such as a DoorDash, for example. So they should be able to use their card online. If
Oh,
there's any errors, that's probably, just a coding error or something, some kind of mishap happening there, but that should not be happening. They should be able to use it online.
okay. Because I was trying to help somebody, a client, just put it on the regular wallet, and it says error on the expiration date due to far in the future because it expires in 2049.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Feel free. If you could send me more details to my email, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the chat, Maria. We
Okay,
can escalate this and see what CDSS has to say about it, since these are the new EBT cards.
okay, excellent. Thank you, Anna.
Okay. Thank you, Maria. And I do see another question in the chat. Would there be a delivery fee? So there are some delivery fees for these programs, like Instacart. Delivery fees aren't typically covered by EBT, so you would have to pay for the delivery fees, but the EBT eligible items, like of course, like the food and whatnot, would be covered. And then there are some programs like Amazon Fresh, for example, where if you purchase over $75 worth of items, then they will completely cover the delivery fee. So thank you for your question, Nancy. All right. Are there any other questions before we continue? Okay, doesn't look like it. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next slide. So Sunbucks is going to be very, very useful for families with children. Again, they will receive $120 for each eligible child in the family. But who is eligible for the program? Eligibility is going to work in two different ways this year. You can be automatically certified, or you can be eligible through other means. If you are automatically certified, this is going to be the easiest way. This means that the family will automatically be mailed the Sunbucks card by CDSS for their eligible child. And I do want to note they will get a card mailed for each eligible child in the family. So each child will get their own card. You can be automatically certified through a couple different ways. The first way would be if you have a child that is receiving CalFresh or CalWorks at any point during the academic school year. So this will apply for families who are currently on the program. So if they are currently receiving CalFresh or CalWorks benefits, or if they were on the program again at any point during the school year. And families are going to have until September 1st to apply for CalFresh or CalWorks. And if they get approved, they will be considered automatically certified, and they will automatically, again, get mailed the Sunbucks card. There will be no additional application or form for you to fill out. Additionally, if you have a child who is foster, homeless, migrant, or runaway, then they will be considered automatically certified as well, and their card will be mailed to the address on file with their school. So again, this means if they're automatically certified, there is no additional form or application they have to fill out. And I see a hand raised. Sandra, do you want to unmute?
Hi, yes, thank you. I think I was making some notes and I missed what you said. So if a family does, what if a family is not receiving either CalFresh or CalWorks? Will they still be able to apply for some bucks?
Yes, yes. So they can still apply for Sunbucks and potentially receive it even if they aren't receiving CalFresh or CalWorks. These would be through the other methods. I'm going to talk about them in the next couple of slides.
Okay. And you said something about if they're in school.
Mhm. Yes. So if they were receiving CalFresh or CalWorks at any point during the school year, they can receive Sunbucks automatically. They don't have to currently be on the CalFresh or CalWorks in order to be automatically certified for Sunbucks. And there are other ways to become eligible for the program. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this right now. So if you have a child who is enrolled in a school, preschool, or Head Start program that participates in the National School Lunch or School Breakfast program, then they can be automatically certified for Sunbucks if they are certified for free and reduced price meals. So I do just want to note really quickly, right now, school meals are free for all children here in California, but in order to be certified for Sunbucks, their family does have to have a free and reduced price meal form filled out. So they do have to make sure that they are certified for these free and reduced price meals. And I do want to note, Sunbucks is typically for school-age children, so this will usually be, ages 5 to 18. But if they are above or below that age, they can still get Sunbucks if they are enrolled in a school that participates in this National School Lunch and School Breakfast program. And I see a question in the chat. Will children get a card sent to them? How will they get the card if they are homeless? So that is a super great question, Erica. Children will automatically if they are automatically certified, they will be mailed the card using the address that is on file with the County of San Diego, or the address on file with their school. So it's really, really important that families keep their addresses up to date. Because we did experience last year, a lot of families were getting cards sent to old addresses. If children are experiencing homelessness, then depending on their eligibility, their card may get sent to their school, or it may get sent to a county family resource center. So there are a couple of family resource centers located across San Diego County. They can send the card to the one that is closest to them. And I will go a little bit over this in the next few slides, but there is going to be a Sunbucks helpline that families can call. And they can call and find out, number one, if they are eligible for the program, two, where their card is going to be mailed. So they can find out, is their card going to be mailed to their school, to the County Family Resource Center. They can find out if it was mailed already. So this Sunbucks helpline will kind of be the go-to for finding out. And I see another hand raised. Dulce? Oh, I think you're muted.
Thank you. I think one of the things I want to just mention that many of the parents received the letter that you mentioned last year, and I think one of the things that happened it is, and this is very usual, it is that the reason they didn't use it, the children. Let me go back a little bit. The parents that have children enrolled in school and then under 5, the reason they didn't use it, it was more about. Sometimes they are afraid of what is going to happen. What is this? So the school sent all those forms home. They were sitting there. The money was sitting there, right? It was kind of free money. We're talking about, remember, $150 depends, right? All that money. But now I think we're more informed. You're doing also the training for us, all this. We were trying for them to enroll them, but they were already receiving the letters. Oh, by the way, we received the letters, and then it was few days before the money was, you know how it was in June, all those days, right? And they couldn't use it. Now I think we are doing like a more uh, on time before the summer, and it's gonna be so needed because as we know, many of the parents are gonna have money because all this thing is happening. So I'm glad that we're talking about it, and then we're gonna tell them use it, and then you're talking about migration, how it's not gonna affect your status. Money's there, is allocated by the state, all this kind of stuff, right? I think that's the reason it happened, and I'm glad that we're covering all this to inform the parents and the children under 1. Let me go back a little bit in they're actually the one that receiving services because the referral then the school, those are the ones that can also be part of.
Yeah, most definitely echo all of that. I know a lot of families were afraid to use these benefits, but yeah, it is safe to use. Will not affect immigration status whatsoever. Benefits are going to expire within 122 days of being loaded onto the card. And if families want to find out the exact date that their benefits are going to expire, they can call the Sunbucks helpline. I will share all of that information in the next few slides. So if they want to find out the exact date that they need to use their benefits by, they can call that helpline. And I do see another hand raised. Margarita, would you like to unmute?
Yes, when you said that the schools need to be certified in order for schools or students that are attending a school with free reduced lunch, if the school is not certified and they have to fill out that form, where are these forms being sent? Are they going to be mailed? Are they able to do it online? Do they have to be paper? How is that going to work?
So the families are going to have to get this free and reduced price meal form from the school. There is an alternative form, which I believe Mark has actually shared. I'm going to share more information about it as well in the next slide, but there is an alternate form called the Universal Benefits Application, or UBA for short, that they can also grab online. So they're going to have to provide their income information on that form, and then they will have to return it back to the school. The school is then going to have to send it in to CDE, to the California Department of Education, in order to make sure that the child is income eligible for the program. If they are, then they will get certified for Sunbucks and they will be mailed the Sunbucks card.
Okay.
So they do have to return it back to the school.
Okay, so if the families fill out the free and reduced price meal form from the school, then that means that they're automatically going to be into the Sunbucks, or do they also have to fill out that form that you're talking about?
No, as long as they get one of the forms filled out. So they don't need to do both, just one of them.
Okay.
Thank you for your question. And I do see another question in the chat. If they are certified for free and reduced lunch, do they need to apply? So no, if they're already certified, then they don't need to apply. They should automatically be considered certified for Sunbucks, and they should get mailed the card to the address on file with their school. And I will share again the contact information for the Sunbucks helpline. But if families aren't sure if they're certified, they can call the helpline to find out if their child is in their system. And if not, then they can go ahead and get that free and reduced price form filled out and back to the school. And I see another question. How can I get hold of information stating it will not affect immigration status? So we do have this information on our website. And we can also share the CDSS website that has all of the information about Sunbucks, how it will not affect immigration status. So I will send them all in a follow-up email. Thank you. All right. So there is another way for children to be eligible. And if they aren't on CalFresh or Sunbucks, or if they're not, participating or if they're not certified for free and reduced price meals, they can still be eligible if they are attending a CEP or Provision 1, 2, or 3 school. Then their parent has to opt in by filling out the Universal Benefits Application, or UBA. Additionally, if you have a child whose families are enrolled in Medi-Cal, then their parent may also have to opt in by filling out the UBA as well. This UBA form is available online, so you can download it online, or you can get it at your school, but it will ask for all income information, and you will have until September 1st to return the UBA back to your school. So September 1st is the deadline to get eligibility for Sunbucks. This is the very last day that families can return this form back to their school. And I want to share a couple screenshots of what that UBA form looks like. It is a couple pages long, so I know it can look a little intimidating at first, but the UBA is honestly quite simple. Number one, it has to be filled out by the parent and submitted back to the school. This is the application that is going to be used by local education agencies to determine Sunbucks eligibility. And they will just have to report all of their income to make sure that they are income eligible for the program. Schools are going to have to report the UBA data back to the California Department of Education's Education Data Collection System, or EDCS for short. So this is for local education agencies to know. If you are working for a school, or if you have any questions about filling out or getting the UBA data or reporting UBA data, you can email the California Department of Education. I have shared their email here in the slide. It's summerebt@cde.ca.gov. And I will be sharing the slides. So don't worry about grabbing all these. I will be sharing the slides. This is another screenshot of another page in the Universal Benefits application. So it will ask for families to provide information about income for their entire household. The UBA will have a section for families to provide a list of all students in the household, as well as their designation as homeless, migrant, runaway, and so on. And then it will have a section for you to list all adult members in your household, as well as all of their income. This includes earned income from work, and then any unearned income from things such as SSI or pensions and so on. Right now, the Universal Benefits application is only available in English, but the California Department of Education is working to translate it into other threshold languages. I believe about 11 threshold languages. So this includes Spanish, another one's Farsi, Korean, Tagalog, just to name a few. I don't believe the other languages are available yet, but they will be available on their website. And schools are also allowed to translate the UBA to other needed languages as well. So they don't have to only stick with the English one. All right. So some other important things to know for the Sunbucks program. Sunbucks cards are going to start to be mailed out in June. So starting next month, it's coming really quick. I know it's really fast. And cards are going to be mailed out in alphabetical order by last name of the child. Each eligible child in the family is going to get their own card, and it will have the child's name listed on their card, not the parents. It will be the child's name. And each card should have $120 deposited as a one-time payment. I said this earlier, but I'll say it again. September 1st is that big deadline to know and share. Families are going to have until September 1st to become eligible for Sunbucks. So they have until September 1st to fill out the UBA, to fill out the free and reduced price meal form, or to apply for CalFresh. And there is a Sunbucks helpline and website. This helpline, you can call, you can inquire about eligibility, you can request a new card, or get help with pinning your card. When families do get the Sunbucks card, they do have to pin it in order to use it. So it does have to be activated. They can't just go out and immediately use it. And I do see a question in the chat. Do I understand correctly that it's too late for families to opt in and receive a card this summer? So no, Micah, it is not too late for families to opt in. They have until September 1st to become eligible for Sunbucks. So they have until that date. So yeah, not too late. All right. So I just want to share a couple more information about the program. It is very, very important for families to keep their address updated with both the school and with the county. As we stated earlier, depending on eligibility, cards are going to be automatically sent to the address on file with these two entities. So it is very, very important to keep your address updated. We want to try to avoid cards being sent to old addresses. This happened a lot last year. Cards were sent to old addresses, and it becomes a bit of a struggle when families have to call the helpline, find out their card was sent to an old address. They have to get a new card sent. So we just want to try to prevent this altogether, and prevent any delays in accessing these benefits. So if you do need to update your address, you can call the county by calling Access, and we've shared the number here, or by visiting your local county office. And I do see a hand raised. Sandra?
Yes. So every time there's available funds, will the family be receiving a new card?
Yes. So families are going to be receiving a new card. So if they participated in the Sunbucks program last year, they will get a new card sent this year. Their cards will not be reloaded.
Okay, thank you.
And Micah, I see you raise your hand.
Yeah, sorry, I still need clarification. So if they apply, say, like on August 30th, right before the September 1st deadline, even though the summer break is already over, will they then not receive a card until the following school summer break? Or will they'll get
No.
a card kind of right away, or?
Yeah, so if they apply, towards the end of summer, like right before maybe like the September deadline, let's say, cards will start to be mailed out as soon as possible. So they may receive their card in fall. We do understand it will be after the summer break, but at least their family will still get access to these cards. They don't have to wait till the following summer to get the card. They will just get the card mailed as soon as possible. So they can still be receiving these cards up to CDSS is estimating around November. But we do know last year cards were still being mailed even up to December. So again, they may still be receiving it all throughout fall.
Great. And if their school is closed for the summer,
Mhm.
by the time they realize they need to apply and they need to fill out that form, they can't really return it to their school. Is there another option?
Yes. So if they aren't able to return the form back to their school, then we do just recommend having the family apply for CalFresh or CalWorks instead. Typically, if you are income eligible, using the UBA, or if you're income eligible for free and reduced price meals, you will typically also be income eligible for CalFresh and CalWorks. So we do recommend that families apply for these programs. If you have CalFresh, it also gives you food benefits, and we're going to talk a little bit about it in the next few slides as well. So that's what we're typically recommending. For a lot of schools here in San Diego, our summer breaks are usually a little shorter. So they will typically reopen before that deadline. But if that's not the case for a family you're working with, again, we do typically just recommend having them apply for CalFresh or CalWorks. And then there is going to be the Sunbucks helpline. So if their school is closed, there will be workers that can help with eligibility questions and all of that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your questions. And I do see another hand raised. Dr. Manisha?
Hi, just for clarification, if we do have a family that completes the UBA and they send it back to the school, where does the school send the form?
The school will have to send the form. I'll go ahead and go back to the slide here. The school will have to send the form over to the California Department of Education. They have an education data collection system, or EDCS for short. CDSS has let us know that they have been reaching out to local education agencies with information about this data collection system. And if you are working with a school and you would, again, if you have any questions about this, you can email this California Department of Education email right here. We've shared it on the slide. So if you do have any questions, like school specific questions, you can email them directly.
It's not necessarily school specific, but did they mention anything about a timeline? So if when the family submits it to the school and then the school sends it to the CDE, then what's the timeline for families to get the card? Or will it fall on that timeline for their the last name, the distribution for the last name?
Yes. So CDSS has not given us a specific timeline for when families are going to be able to get the card after uploading or after sending it back to the school. What we do know is that for families who apply over the summer, cards are going to start to be mailed out around August, is what we've been hearing. And then they will be mailed out according to alphabetical order, according to their last name. So it will kind of just vary. So if they have like a later last name, but they applied earlier during the summer, they may still have to just wait because CDSS will be mailing it out in last name alphabetical order. And if you do have someone who applied and they're not sure where their card is and they think they should have gotten their card by now, they can call the Sunbucks helpline. And the Sunbucks helpline will have all of the information. They will be able to give you information on where your card was sent, if it was sent, or when it should be sent. All right. I see another hand raised. Dulce?
Yeah, I don't know if you already answered this one. I have to ask you one more time. You say three things: the UBA, the reduced meal, and the CalFresh. The three things have to happen for them to be eligible, or
No,
or
just one of the above.
yeah, okay, thanks.
Perfect. Thank you. And then Nancy, I did see your question. Will LEAs receive training on how to determine eligibility? So CDSS and CDE did host a training. I believe it was last week or 2 weeks ago for local education agencies. They did send out the recording. So if you are interested in receiving that, feel free to let me know. I will put my email in the chat and I can forward that over to you. So they did host a training, but it was a few weeks ago. Okay, so I'll go ahead and continue. Some other really, really important things to know. Sunbucks benefits are not going to be eligible for replacement due to EBT skimming and scamming. So this means it's very important to keep your card information private. Please do not share your card information with anyone. not your card number or your PIN number. But if you do happen to lose food due to household misfortune, you can get those benefits replaced. So if you happen to face a power outage, for example, or flooding, or any other kind of disaster, household misfortune, you can get your benefits replaced. But you will have to do so within about 10 days of the misfortune happening. So there will be a form that families have to fill out. And then lastly, Sunbook's benefits should be used within 122 days of the cards being loaded. So rule of thumb, we are just telling people, try to use your benefits within about 3 months of receiving the card just to be safe. We want to make sure that cards don't get expunged. And if families receive both CalFresh and Sunbucks, we do recommend just using your Sunbucks benefits first. Again, just to be safe and prevent benefits from being expired. And I do see a question, are military families eligible for Sunbucks? So they can be eligible for Sunbucks. Being in the military will not provide automatic eligibility. They would just have to be income eligible or have, CalFresh or CalWorks. They might have to opt in, filling out the UBA form. All right. So we do understand Sunbucks is a newer program. This is only the second year that it is being administered nationwide. So this is a lot of information. Families are probably going to have a lot of questions. We have developed a Sunbucks webpage on our website. It is just sdhunger.org/Sunbucks. Please feel free to check it out if you are interested. We have all of the information about the program, what it is, eligibility, all listed there. We do also have a Sunbucks FAQ as well, so some frequently asked questions on there. And as you can see on the slide, we have a Sunbucks eligibility flowchart as well. So families can use this flowchart to kind of gauge their eligibility for the program. These resources are available in both English and Spanish online, so you are able to check it out in both languages. And before I continue, I just want to give you a brief little overview of the timeline we are expecting for Sunbucks this year. I stated earlier, but cards are going to start to be mailed out next month, starting in June. And they will first be mailed out to children who are automatically certified. For example, children who are certified for free and reduced price meals, or children who are on CalFresh. And they will be mailed out alphabetical order by last name. CDSS is estimating that card delivery for automatically certified children will complete in July. And they will start to send out cards for families who apply over the summer, starting in August. I do want to note these are estimates from CDSS. So they may see a little bit of delay, but these are just what they are estimating the timeline to be. September 1st is going to be that really big, important day for families to know. It's the last day for them to apply. And then fall families who apply over the summer will continue to receive their cards. And I just want to remind you, please encourage families to try to use their card within about 3 months of receiving it. It is just very important. We want to make sure that those benefits don't expire. All right. Margarita, I see you have a hand raised.
I just want clarification. Earlier when you talked about the cards are not going to be able to be replaced. So if a card is sent out to an address that was old, are they and the benefits haven't been used or they haven't activated the card, they are able to get a replacement card to their new address. Is that correct?
Yes, they will be able to.
Okay.
The only time they can't get benefits replaced is if they lose the benefits or they get them stolen due to EBT skimming and scamming. So if you give your card information out, you won't be able to get your benefits replaced then. But yeah, if it gets sent to old addresses or a wrong address, you can get a new card sent. And Paula?
Hi, question. Is there a chance families that are certificate can receive their car before or expedite? Like, let me give you an example. Last year, I was working with a family. Last name of the children were like something with a C, so they were the last and mom was in really need of this resource. So I wonder if they can call to see if they can expedite their cards or something like that, or they will have to wait.
So from my understanding, CDSS has said they can't expedite cards. It's because they're contracted with a vendor that has limited printing capabilities.
Okay.
So in order to try to make sure cards are sent out in a timely manner, they are just doing it by alphabetical order.
Okay.
I believe you could call the helpline and potentially see,
Okay.
just seeing depending on CDSS's capabilities, but it is just dependent on their vendor and who they're contracted with. So from what I know, I don't think they were able to do that last year, but it doesn't it doesn't hurt to call the helpline.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. And I did mention this is the second year that Sunbucks is being administered. So we did have the Sunbucks program for the first time back in 2024. There are a lot of lessons that we can take away and learn from the administration of the program last year. There were a good amount of people, a good amount of families who did not activate their benefits last year. In the state of California, this amounted to about 100,000 children who did not activate their benefits despite being eligible. And this can be due to a variety of things. Someone stated earlier, families were afraid, that it would affect their immigration status, and they didn't know that it wouldn't. So we just need to do more to, let families know, educate them about what this card is, what these benefits are. For some statistics nationwide, there was only about a 76.7% PIN rate. So this is the amount of eligible families who activated their card nationwide throughout all the states who are participating. This amounts to about 1.3 million children who did not access their benefits despite being eligible. So again, a lot of children who did not access their benefits. And with $120 per card, that is a lot of food benefits that went unused. So if we want to create a hunger-free San Diego and make sure our communities are connected to this food resource, we want to make sure we do all of this outreach to connect families. And Sandra, I see your hand raised.
Yes, thank you again. What am I trying to say here? So people who are receiving CalFresh and CalWorks will also receive will qualify for the some
Yeah.
block. What about those who are receiving WIC? Do they qualify?
No, so they will not be automatically eligible for Sunbucks. It's because WIC is typically for ages under 5, and Sunbucks is for school-age children.
Okay,
So
got it.
that's why WIC, doesn't get considered eligible.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. All right. So continuing on, how can we promote Sunbucks? What can schools, what can organizations do to promote the program? Well, first of all, I want to acknowledge schools are often the most trusted messengers for students and for their families. So we need your help in promoting the program and making sure that eligible students gain access to Sunbucks. I stated earlier during the presentation, but there are a number of ways to become eligible for Sunbucks. But one of the easiest ways will be through CalFresh. So if you are on CalFresh, you are considered automatically certified for Sunbucks, and you will automatically be mailed your Sunbucks card. So the easiest way, again, to get Sunbucks is to be on CalFresh. So we're doing our best to promote the CalFresh program. That way, families get access to both CalFresh food benefits and Sunbucks benefits. And so to make it as easy as possible, we have developed a toolkit for you to utilize, whether you're a community organization or a school. This toolkit does have a lot of really great resources. It has, sample language that you can use for your website, for emails, robocalls, some sample social media posts and flyers, information about eligibility, and we have some information for local CalFresh application assisters as well. So where can families go if they want help applying for CalFresh? And our toolkit is linked on our website. But I do want to highlight a couple pages. And I do see a question in the chat. Do community college students up to the age of 18 qualify? So typically it will only be for school age children. So if you happen to say you have a senior that is maybe 19, but they're still in high school, they could still qualify for Sunbucks. If they're in community college, they would not because it would be for school age children. I do see another question. Do you have a slide deck or flyers to give families? So we do have this toolkit and we do have sample social media posts. And I will share some flyers that you can share with families as well. Thank you, Nancy. And then one more question in the chat. Do families need to activate the card or just use it? So they do have to activate the card. They can activate the card by calling the helpline. They can pin the card for use. They can also download the EBT Edge app and they can pin their card using that as well. So they do have to pin it before using it. All right. So some more information about our toolkit. Just wanted to highlight a few pages. The first thing that we do recommend schools do is add a button for parents so they can find the CalFresh application right away. Really makes it as easy as possible. That way they don't need to go and search for the CalFresh application. We do recommend just calling or contacting your school or district website administrators and asking them to add a link to the CalFresh application. They can link it to benefitscal.com. There is a little colorful CalFresh button you can add to the page. On the toolkit, you can just click right on the logo and click Save As if you want to get the image right away. And we do have the toolkit available in Spanish as well. We do have a lot of other really great information, such as sample language that you can use when outreaching directly to students and to their families. So if you want to call students, if you want to send emails or send mailed letters, you can feel free to copy and paste this information. Again, it is available in both English and in Spanish. And feel free to share our list of community organizations as well. These programs, CalFresh, Sunbucks, and summer meal programs, all of these food resources, they are not mutually exclusive. This means that they can be used all at the same time. Families can receive all of them. So they can get both CalFresh and Sunbucks. I see a question, will you email us this info or will the links work when you email us the slides? So I will send you all of the info. I will have the slides linked and this toolkit linked as well separately. All right. And then our toolkit also includes a sample social media post that you can share. We have about, I believe it's like 6 to 8 sample posts. So it has information on CalFresh, on Sunbucks. You can feel free to take the post, add your logo. Please feel free to add your school logo or your org logo. Share them to your social media, put them on your website, put them on your Instagram story, Facebook. Feel free to share them out. We are encouraging that you take any of these, and again, feel free to add your logo or let us know if you need any support, with outreaching to families. Feel free to reach out to our org. And then one last little bit I want to share about the toolkit. We have a list of CalFresh application assisters all listed on here. There are CalFresh assisters available all throughout San Diego County that provide free help when it comes to applying for CalFresh. They are located, again, all over the county, as south as San Isidro and as north as Oceanside. So I like to say this, help is never too far away. Families can go in, get free CalFresh application assistance, and once they get approved for CalFresh, this means they're automatically eligible for Sunbucks. So that's why we're recommending families just apply for CalFresh. What else can we do to, make sure families get informed? Continue to reach out, continue to outreach to them. Feel free to connect with a local community-based org. So if your school has a resource fair, a family night, a open house planned, feel free to reach out to us. You can email us if you want to connect with a local community-based org and maybe have them come out to your school to provide CalFresh assistance or provide information on the program. Let us know. And of course, continue to remind families to keep their address updated so cards don't get sent to old addresses. All right. Are there any questions before we continue? Okay, doesn't look like it. So I will pass it off. Oh, Micah, do you have a question?
Oh, yeah, real quick. Do you know if the income eligibility guidelines are available for families filling out the UAB?
Yeah, so income eligibility guidelines will, I believe, follow the 185% federal poverty level. I will find the CDSS link to see if we can link it directly, and I'll send it in the follow-up email.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Micah. Amy?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm talking from the school district's perspective. Our district is 100% CEP, which means we have not we're not allowed to collect the meal or income applications. And our district is trying to figure out how to make the universal benefits application available, process it, upload that data. There's a lot of unknowns still. So as you guys are supporting families to navigate with their districts, some of the districts may not have these answers yet. We're trying to figure that out, and we love the support to help families know about this resource. But on the district side, there are still quite a few questions that we're trying to figure out. And coming up to the end of the school year, we're kind of gearing towards having this ready to go at back to school time. So wanted to share that for you guys working with districts who are 100% CEP or schools that are CEP.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Amy. Yeah, I definitely acknowledge there needs to be a lot more, I think, early outreach from CDSS's end to schools about getting the UBA. The UBA is actually new. Last year, schools could use the alternative income form, but this year they're not allowed to. They have to use this new form. So I do acknowledge there are a lot of questions when it comes to district level, school level for, so I definitely acknowledge that, acknowledge all of the hardship. We are still here if you're working with any families who are calling and they want more information about the program, we are here to support. So please feel free to, again, share our contact information. And I do see a couple questions. Will CDE have another webinar? They did have that LEA webinar a few weeks ago. And since we've seen a little bit of interest, I'll go ahead and in my follow-up email, I will link the recording from that webinar last time. I'm not sure if they will have another, but I'll go ahead and I'll link their last webinar. Dr. Maisha?
I have a question. So if the family has some challenges with the UBA, can they still be eligible for the program, or they have to have the UBA?
So they
Like
can
as
still
the
be.
districts are trying to navigate how to collect it, get the information out, submit it to the CDE, will that prevent or delay the families in getting it? And do they have to have it in order to get the benefit?
So they don't. The only other way to be eligible for the program if they don't submit the UBA or the FRPM form would be through having CalFresh or CalWorks. So if they can't fill out the UBA or they're having trouble with filling out the UBA, I am just recommending that families apply for CalFresh. Also kind of kills two birds with one stone because they get access to another form of food benefits. And typically as well, if they are income eligible and they prove income eligibility for the UBA, they will typically be income eligible for CalFresh as well. So that would be the other way that families can be eligible. Otherwise, they would have to get the UBA form filled out and completed back to the school.
So with if they do fill out the My Benefits application, they would not have to do the UBA.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And Margarita?
But CalFresh, they are they do affect immigration statuses, right? Like if families are holding back from applying for these other benefits, does that affect, or does that also fall into the?
No, so CalFresh is not currently considered in a public charge test, and it does not affect immigration status. I do recognize with the current, political landscape and with the current administration, there is a lot of fears and misconceptions that is around right now surrounding the CalFresh program. Right now, policy-wise, CalFresh does not affect immigration status. This may change in the future. Nothing has changed yet, but I just want to reiterate that nothing has changed yet. There is some talks, on the federal level about having CalFresh, be considered on a public charge test, but that is currently not the case. It is still safe for families to access. It does not affect immigration status or your families. And another thing for CalFresh, a really common situation that we kind of see for families is having an undocumented parent. They have a child who's a citizen. Their child can qualify for CalFresh, even if they, as the undocumented parent, do not. Their child can still get CalFresh, and if their child has CalFresh, they get Sunbucks.
Okay, so for CalFresh, if they do have a U.S. citizen child, they would be applying, or the student or the child would be applying for the CalFresh. It wouldn't, or would they be using the parent information?
So the parent would apply on behalf of their child. The only information that the parent needs to provide on the application is their income.
Okay.
That's because parent income will affect eligibility, of course, for the program, even if they are applying on behalf of their child. But they don't need to provide any other information beyond that. So the parent doesn't need to provide immigration status information. The county cannot require the parent to provide that information.
Okay. And then one other question. CalFresh, do they need Social Security numbers to apply for that?
Yeah, so they will need the Social Security number for whoever they are applying for. So if they are just applying for their child, they will need their child social.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
And I will note, if you encounter any issues when it comes to CalFresh, or if you have a family apply and the county for whatever reason ask for immigration status, I want to reiterate that information cannot be requested. It is in the FNS guidelines. We have the policy linked on our website as well, on our safe page. So if that does happen to you, feel free to reach out to us. We are here to advocate and support families as they go through the CalFresh application process. We have supported a few families who have applied on behalf of their children in the past. So again, I want to reiterate, it is safe for them to access. They cannot require immigration status information for anyone who is not on the application. So if they're applying on behalf of their child, they can't ask for their immigration status or their social. And Dulce?
Thank you. You just made a comment, but I do have to make another comment. I just came from South Bay, from Chula Vista, because I do have parents that I getting old, and I help them. I just stopped with the medical office, and I help them with CalFresh. And CalFresh, they was asking you about immigration, but they were very, very polite, and they were the one asking, because my parents were, I mean, even though they have the status, they were saying what you're just saying. They ask, and then the form asks you about the immigration, they have Social Security, or they have the other number, right? But it's just a form asking, right? That doesn't mean gonna go, and I'm just gonna go back a little bit. The reason last year many people didn't have food on the table, but they didn't use that card because they in CalFresh they don't apply because they're scared of that. I mean, I'm just gonna give my point of view. The families that didn't happen for the same reason. The form is very intimidated in CalFresh, and I'm glad you're saying that. But they were saying, do not, please, just send the form what you have, and they're gonna call you with a phone call interview that provide what you have, right? And it's so important because many don't do the UBA or Roots Meal, but they can apply with the CalFresh, and they are able to get those the sunbacks. I'm just gonna make sure that we continue, because it's very they are afraid, they don't want to do it. And CalFresh is one of the things that they can get this money for the food.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, having CalFresh and Sunbucks, they get access to, two different forms of food benefits. That that, it gives the families again a lot of power. It really helps them out during the summer when their children don't have access to those food benefits, to those daily school breakfast and school lunch meals. And I do want to reiterate, we have a safe page on our website. It is just sdhunger.org/safe. And it has all of the information when it comes to policy. Right now, all food assistance programs are safe to access. Nothing has changed policy-wise. I do know there was a lot of fear because during Trump's previous administration, he did change the policy to include programs like CalFresh and a public charge test. But last time, that took him 3 years. That took him 3 years to change policy. And Biden reversed that back in December of 2022. So he did reverse it. He put it into law that CalFresh and other food programs are not considered on a public charge test. If he does try to change this again with his current administration, it will take him, at least a few months. So we will have notice if he does try to do it, or if he does try to change any policy, and we will keep everyone updated. So we will have all of these updates on our website. Margarita?
Sorry, one other question. If a family, let's say, for instance, we have some students that are under the guardianship of grandparents or any other relatives in the family because parents are not in the picture, not in here, whatever the situation might be, are they allowed to apply for the Sunbucks for these students, or do they have to have legal custody for the students?
So if the student is living with them, they can apply on behalf of the student as long as, they are living with them. I think the only issue that might pop up is if they have, like a separate parent or guardian that also tries to apply on their behalf. There may be some questions on CDSS's end. But as long as they can prove that the child is living with them and they are the one that is taking care of the child, they can apply on behalf of them.
When you say be able to prove that they are under their care, what would they need as far as proof?
So typically, when it comes to CalFresh, a sworn statement will suffice. A sworn statement is pretty much like a legally binding, statement.
Okay.
With the sworn statement, they would just have to write it out, really, that, they would put their name, they are taking care of this child, put their name, and they would have to sign and date it with their signature. So it will just be like a legally binding statement that you are, again, pretty much putting under oath that this is what is happening.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for your question. All right. I'll go ahead and I'll pass it over to Kylene to talk a little bit about CalFresh. I know we've talked a lot about it, so we wanted to give you all a little bit more insight about what exactly the CalFresh program is.
Yes, thank you so much, Anna, and definitely appreciate all the questions that have been asked. This is going to be more of a quick overview for time's sake, but I do want to mention that we do have another hunger-free navigator training that goes over more of the food assistant programs that are provided. So it goes over Sunbucks and CalFresh, like we'll go over, but it also goes over a lot of other food assistant programs. Like WIC and food distributions and meals for older adults. If we can get to it today, we'll maybe talk a little bit about WIC and food distributions, but I think we're only going to have time for CalFresh today. And then also want to mention that we do have a CalFresh 101 training. That's a 2-part training that goes more in depth into CalFresh and even with mixed status family households. So can also provide that in the follow-up email if you want to join us for that one. But with that, we can go ahead and jump into CalFresh. All right, so as you can see, a little bit more data that we collected. So this was data from December of 2024 about the food assistant programs here in San Diego. And this chart represents all of the meals that were provided. So about 28.6 million meals were provided. And then as you can see in the chart, most of those meals came from CalFresh at 59%, followed by the school and youth meals. And so we also have noted that there are a lot of people that are eligible for CalFresh that are not yet enrolled. So we estimated about 175,000 people that are most likely eligible, but are not yet enrolled. So it's definitely an important program to help promote and do outreach for. And like Anna said, in our toolkit that we have for schools, we do also provide information and resources for outreach. Next slide, please. And then, so what is CalFresh? So since we've been talking about it a lot, so I mean, it's a food assistance program, also known as food stamps, and it is an entitlement program. So what this means is that whoever is eligible will get benefits. So it's not like there's a limited amount of slots available, because some people may be like, oh, we don't want to potentially take benefits away from anybody else. That's not, luckily, that's not how it works. It's whoever is eligible will be able to get CalFresh. So we recommend applying for it, even if you're on maybe the cusp of being eligible. Next slide. So what I really like about CalFresh is that it's really easy to use. So when you become eligible for CalFresh and you qualify, you will get a card that looks like a debit card, similar to the one on the screen. And then with this card, you'll have the benefits loaded on it each month, and you'll be able to go to participating grocery stores and farmers market, even online shopping that you're able to use this card for. And the nice thing about this card is that you don't have to finish your benefits at the end of the month. The benefits will keep rolling over from month to month up to 9 months. And that's why we are recommending that families use their Sunbucks benefits first, because those only last for 3 months once you get the card, whereas the CalFresh, it will keep rolling over up to 9 months. And next slide. And then what to buy when you have CalFresh benefits. So CalFresh benefits are good for food products like fruits and veggies, meat, seafood, and dairy. And they even can be used to buy baby formula, which is extremely important. And then also, if someone were so inclined to, they can buy plants, even food-producing plants. So if someone to buy a tomato plant and grow their own tomatoes on their, in their front yard or back porch, they can also have the resources to do that too, and use their EBT benefits for that. And next slide. And also important to note that there are some things that you cannot buy with CalFresh benefits. So things like pet foods, alcohol, tobacco, non-food items, so diapers or house cleaning supplies can't be bought. And then also hot prepared meals, unless you are part of an eligible demographic, hot prepared meals cannot be purchased with CalFresh benefits. So cold prepared food, though, can be purchased, but hot, then that's a no-go. So an example, like hot rotisserie chicken or hot, soup, those would be considered not eligible. But let's say that soup was put into a container, they put a label on it, and then they put it in the cold section, then that would be eligible for EBT benefits. So one way I remember is like cold, then sold, hot, then not. And next slide. And so what qualifies as a CalFresh household? So the CalFresh household definition is a little bit different than the more like common definition of what we consider a household, which is like everyone under one roof. But for the CalFresh, there are two things that are important to remember is that a household is considered people who buy food together and they prepare their food together. So you could have multiple households under one roof. So as you can see in this picture, you have the family in green who buy and prepare food together. And then you have another person that lives there. You know, you could say maybe it's a roommate, maybe it's a renter or another relative that prepares food on their own. So those would be considered separate household or households under CalFresh rules. So they can use the same mailing address on the application, but they would apply separately. And next slide. And then going more into who is eligible. So I know we discussed a little bit of this, but to kind of give an overview. Single people can apply as well as families can apply. In some cases, children who are 18 and legally on their own are eligible. Those who are unemployed can also be eligible for CalFresh. Legal permanent residents can also be eligible for CalFresh, including refugees and asylees and those with T or U visas. U.S. citizens are eligible, and this includes U.S.-born children, regardless of their parents' immigration status, even if they are undocumented. I know we talked about that a little bit previously, and we go further into that in our CalFresh 101 trainings. And then also people who are SSI or SSP recipients, which stands for Supplemental Security Income and state supplemental payments. So these groups are also eligible for CalFresh. So this typically includes people who are 60 years or older or people with a disability. And also want to mention that right now, adults between 18 and 59 who have disabilities are extremely under-enrolled. So it's important to reach out to those populations as well. And then also, like we said, we want to acknowledge that not everyone is eligible for CalFresh. So that might not be an avenue for everyone, such as undocumented immigrants, DACA recipients, and asylee petitioners, which means those who have not been granted asylum yet. However, if they do have U.S.-born children, they can apply on behalf of their U.S.-born children. So in that case, that would make them eligible for the Sunbucks program, and they would request to the words opt out in order to do that. And if they opt out, then they do not need to provide immigration status. And then if you are in one of those demographics, the next step is determining if you are income eligible. And so income eligibility is determined by the 200% federal poverty line. So as you can see on this chart, like for example, a family of four who is making less than $5,200 a month would receive benefits anywhere from $23 to $97. And so the range that you see on there, that is going to be largely determined by the net income. So there would also be, as well as like a gross income threshold, there is a net monthly income threshold, as well as determination or the determining amount of benefits. So this is your gross monthly income minus any expenses that the household has. So qualifying expenses that applicants can report include shelter and housing expenses, or also known as deductions. They can also report dependent care, either like adult care or child care expenses. If they're a college student, they can report college expenses. They can also report child support payments, utility costs, so like phone bill or gas, electricity. And for those who are 60 years or older or receiving disability benefits, they can also deduct medical expenses. And then also want to mention that those who experiencing homelessness can also deduct a homeless shelter deduction up to $190. So anything like if they're living in their car, they can deduct the car payments or car insurance, or if they're staying in a motel or hotel, they can also deduct those costs up to $190. And yes, Sandra?
Thank you. So for utilities, did you say that cell phone is considered an expense? A cell
Yeah.
phone? Okay.
They can
Thank
report
you.
their phone bill. Yeah. All right. And then with that, and also just want to mention that it's important to, as many qualifying expenses as the household has, I recommend reporting because that's going to increase your benefit amounts. All right. And next slide, please. All right, so for those who do get approved for CalFresh, there are also other programs. So like, let's say that a family applies, but then they're on the lower end of the spectrum, like they only get like the $23. They can also get so much more, like as we were talking about, their children can be eligible for Sunbucks, so that that provides more benefits for them, but they also can be eligible for other programs. So things like the Lifeline program, which can offer discounted or free phone and internet services and help towards your bill. There's also the SDG&E Energy Assistant Program, which can provide up to 30% off of energy bills, which is that's a really good thing, especially since summer is coming around and we're probably going to be cranking up our fans or ACs. And then families are also eligible for another SDG&E program, FARA. So this, if they meet the income limits and consists of 3 or more in the household, FARA can provide families with up to 18% off of their energy bill. So these can, like I said, even if you got the lower end of CalFresh, we definitely recommend that families check out these other programs that they may be qualified for because they are CalFresh recipients. And then on our resources page, we have another flyer for discounts and benefits, which we can also send you. Next slide, please. And then also what was mentioned before with the hot prepared meals. So CalFresh has the restaurant meals program, which is available to those who are 60 years or older, disabled, or experiencing homelessness, or if they are the spouse of someone in either of those categories. And so for this, they don't have to do anything extra to apply for this program. They would be able to purchase hot and prepared meals at participating locations. So you can check for the participating locations using the locator on the EBT government website. And then also sometimes restaurants and grocery stores will have this little label, like the one that you see on the screen, saying that like, oh, EBT like accepted here. And next slide, please. And then another program that CalFresh recipients are automatically eligible for when they get into the CalFresh program is the replacement CalFresh EBT. So this is for if there's any sort of, like, let's say natural disaster, like here in California, wildfires, or even as we saw in San Diego, the years before we had like a lot of flooding. So, or really any reason that if the power is out for like 4 hours and it caused your food to spoil, you would be eligible for replacement EBT. So in order to get that though, you would need to report the loss of food within 10 days of the loss happening. So it's a little bit of a quick turnaround time, but if they have this ready to go, they can just fill out the form and then be able to submit it. And next slide, please. All right, so how do you apply for CalFresh? So there are a few ways you can apply. For most people, sometimes the easiest way is to apply online by going to benefits.cal.com. Another way you can apply is over the phone using 211, and they can do the application there. If you also wanted to fill out a paper application, you have the opportunity to do that as well. And so you would just fill out the form and mail it to the county, and the address is on the slide. And then another avenue that you could take is reaching out to a CalFresh applicant assister, which is highly recommended because you are more likely to get approved if you work with a CalFresh assister. And this is because these are folks who have been trained. They also provide a lot of times like different languages to support either Spanish speakers. I know some of the CalFresh assisters on here also speak Tagalog, so able to help in Filipino communities as well as other languages. And then also, since they are trained, they know a lot about the process. They are able to help applicants with their questions. Like we said before, we really recommend that schools try to get connected to a CalFresh assister, to one of the CBOs. That way, it's more of a streamlined approach. You already have a relationship. You already have someone who you can recommend families to in order to get CalFresh assistance. So I definitely recommend going to our webpage at the sdhunger.org/get-CalFresh, and you can find a CalFresh assister close to you. And then also want to mention that these CBOs have a lot of times have a relationship with the county or have like special CBO access lines where they're able to get questions answered faster. So that's also a perk with working with the CalFresh assister.
Thank you so much, Kylene. And we are approaching 2:30. We do have a couple more slides on here on other food resources available in the county, including WIC and food distributions. For the sake of time, I am going to skip through them and kind of get to the end here. I will share the slides, so you don't have to worry. You'll still get all of this great information emailed to you. But I did just want to skip to some of these last pages on here, reiterating the fact that food assistance is not a public charge. So again, it is currently safe according to Biden's updated public charge rule that took effect back in December of 2022. Nothing has changed policy-wise. It is still safe to access, and we do keep our website updated with the latest information. So please feel free to check it out. And I did want to reiterate that food assistance will not affect you or your family's immigration status, and that these programs are not mutually exclusive. So families can be receiving a combination of all of these programs. You don't have to feel like you have to limit yourself to one or the other. You can make use of all of them. So again, this includes WIC, school and after school meals, Sunbucks, Summer EBT, home delivered meals, food distributions, pantries. Families can make use of all of them. We are going to be adding all of you to our network of partners. We will be sending out newsletters with regular updates on the Sunbooks program, CalFresh, other things to know. We have all of our resources available on our website as well. And I did just want to highlight, we have a flyer. It is called our Food Assistance Resource Flyer. This flyer has information about all of the food resources available in San Diego County. So it has information on Sunbucks, has information on CalFresh. It has those income eligibility guidelines all listed on there. This flyer is available in 13 different languages. So if you are working with families who, might be speaking other languages like Korean, Russian, Farsi, for example, feel free to share our resource flyer with them. It is available again on our website, and we'll be sending all of the links over. And this is the contact information for Kylene and I. So this is our email and our phone. So if you have any questions, or if you need any support, with connecting your family to food resources, or, your community to food resources, please feel free to connect with us. You can give us a call or give us an email. We are always here to support you, support your school and your community. So thank you so much. If you are interested in hearing more about other food resources, Kylene mentioned we do host regular trainings every month. I will share the link to them in the chat. Our next one will be in June, and we do go over, all of other food resources there, including WIC and food distributions, home delivered meals for older adults, and so on. So if you're interested, feel free to check it out. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Thank you for spending your Thursday afternoon with us. We appreciate your time.
Yes, and thank you for your engagement and all your wonderful questions.
A lot of great questions today.
So great. Thank you. So appreciate it.
Thank you.
Love it. So happy. So happy I can share. Bye.
Thank you.